Hello, Connective. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you don't know how I work, I put a bunch of cards on the table from different decks that tell a story and we talk about it. If you like the content on this channel, feel free to subscribe. Don't smash anything. And with that being said, let's get into this energy. So this is a general reading for Virgo. And we're going to pull some cards and see what's going on for Virgo today. These are shuffled. Just going to move them around and then see if we can get 2 or 3 to jump out. Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Oh, all right. There's a lot for Virgo. Here, let's see what's up. Let's get the one that fell on the floor first. All right. Ooh, Goddess of the Moon. And we have the Magician in the Mirror. Attachment. Kind of put it over here. And, ooh, man holding a coin. Put them over here. And Angel of Love. I love this card. When the light goes to a more normal color, I'll show it to you. And let's pull. This looks like a pretty interesting reading. Let me move them around a little bit before I try to get some to jump. I put these 2 on this side because it just feels right. I don't normally do that. So I don't know why. We'll see. We'll see what presents itself, Virgo. That was the Energy Oracle deck, and we're getting ready to pull from the Alice in Wonderland deck. I think I'm losing my voice. So let's see if Alice in Wonderland has, you know, a couple of cards for us, 2 or 3. If they don't want to jump, we'll pull them. See what's going on for Virgo. Do we have, does Alice in Wonderland want to talk for Virgo today? Any cards to come out for this one? All right, we'll see what that is in a second. All right, I don't get a third. Oh, wow. Okay, we're going to take them all because this hasn't happened with the other readings that I've been doing. I'm going to assume all these cards are for you, Virgo. Okay. Forget who you are. Let me just make sure I get it. These are colored cards with white writing in them. Let me see. Forget who you are. Conditioning falls away. Memory no longer defines you. Wow. I didn't even know this card was in there. Wow. Okay. I see some stuff coming out. Becoming braver. Resilience, experience, getting stronger, and fresh perspective. Yeah, that actually goes down here. And I think actually she goes up here. And I'm pretty sure he goes over here. She's going to go underneath it. And this is just going to go here where I put it before. What else do we have? The right way. Learning to create what you desire. Wow. All right. We have investigate. Look closely. Ask questions. Think before acting. Wow. We got three more here. You are rare and free. Taurus got this too. There are not many like you. That's funny. The water signs were kind of like that too, where either the same cards or similar cards were coming out. We're all mad here. This one is a little dark. Let me see what it says. Everyone is a little different. Different is in quotes. All right. Wow. Not even sure where to put this. Let's just put it here. Let's see what this last card is. Impossible things. Okay, this one too. A lot of white on purple. Working through disbelief, imaginative leaps, fresh perspective. Ah, we've gotten this card too. Think before acting. Wow, okay. For some reason I was thinking that fresh perspective was on this table somewhere else. That's interesting. We're going to, there's a possibility that it's going to come back. Oh, fresh perspective. So, becoming braver has fresh perspective, and impossible things has fresh perspective. If you've watched some of my older channel or older videos, you know that a lot of times when that word is coming out twice, it's basically the universe saying I meant what I said. Fresh perspective. This, I mean, it looks like a spirit. This looks like a spiritual awakening for Virgo for me. I mean, there might be other things going on, but what this looks like to me is kind of like a little bit of trying to come into who you are through like deconditioning. Some people don't know what that means. It's they know what conditioning means, but they can't like apply it to their own lives. And you know, sometimes conditioning is just that, well, I was going to say that record that keeps playing in your head, but usually it's like, you know, something you heard, or it's a very good possibility that it's something that you told yourself, that maybe most of the time wasn't true. You were being a little bit, you were either echoing something that you heard before that you did think was true, or even if you didn't think it was true, sometimes people do just play the recording. And a lot of times it could be something they heard from a parent, something they heard from a friend, or if they just weren't treated, you know, very nice, and somebody said something over and over again, like they will play that recording. But there's other things going on here too. And there's a lot of cards. So let's pull Moonology. Let's see if we can get, like, again, these are all shuffled. Let's see if we can get like 3 of the Moonology cards to come out, and see if there's any other signs involved or any other messages that go along with that while we're getting here, because there's a lot on this table. There's a possibility this could be a little bit longer of a reading. That's a couple cards. Let's see how many. 3. Is that 3? Okay, we got our 3 cards. Okay. That was cooperative. Okay. So we have first quarter moon in Pisces. Honor your feelings. We have first quarter moon in Aquarius. Trust the universe. And full moon in Leo, go wild. This card has come up before. Kind of feel like it's the message, of course, is a little bit slightly different here. First of all, let me just throw some things out there, because I'm resisting this impression that it keeps coming back. So this card right here, the man holding the coin, this could be like either someone who's in a 3D situation, like they're used to being like not awakened, and then they're getting ready to awaken, or they're starting to awaken. And to me, that coin is kind of telling me like that's still the most important thing to them. This could be you, this could be someone else. It could be one of those signs we mentioned on these Moonology cards. But this kind of tells me that there is someone involved who is, for lack of better words, more worried about their money than maybe spiritual things, or maybe even if this isn't you, you know, what you would consider to be important things. Not in any malicious way, just in the way that they're distracted. You know, maybe they work a lot, or just something to that effect, okay? Maybe it's even something that bothers you, like stands out. Like, again, it might not be to a huge extent, but it might bother you. It might get in the way somehow with your interactions with this person, or just, you know, again, it could be their recording that they're playing in their head that's making them think a certain way, that's, again, you know, causing you to somehow be affected by this, okay? So there's that. Also, this "you are rare and free" card, it's actually saying something different to me than for you than it did for Taurus. You know, for Taurus, it was kind of more of like coming into your power, like, you know, your self-esteem, like recognizing who you are, and you know, how unique you are, which is true. This card always means that to me, but this kind of also tells me that it's kind of like we've been doing things the same way for so long that we don't remember that, especially like as we get to be an adult. Like sometimes people get older and say their parent had them doing something, you know, whatever it was, maybe it was once a year, something, and then the parent dies. And then like 5-10 years later, this person is still finding themselves doing this thing that maybe they don't really want to do. And I'm not talking about like even like a religious thing where you would do it for your mom, or, you know, something like that. I'm just talking about like a normal thing where you just kind of go, why am I still doing this? Mom wouldn't even care anymore, you know, kind of thing. And you know, this is reminding us, like, especially a lot of times when we do get older, we realize, you know, when I'm the boss of myself, I can do what I want. But if we don't, sometimes it's because there's programming involved. You know, maybe I don't feel that I can do the next thing very well, or that that's for me. Some people, there's a lot of belief systems in place. Like if you really pay attention, and see, like, to some of the things that people say, like there's a lot of little stuff out there that you wouldn't think, that kind of, once you like hear enough things like that, like from a particular person that you spend a lot of time with or something, you start to kind of understand why they say certain things, or why they think certain things, or why might there even be resistance for certain things, because this person might have you know, a belief system that's kind of coming into it. You know, conditioning falls away. So this doesn't even have to be something you're trying to do. Like a lot of times through shadow work, we'll try to, you know, get rid of our not get rid of, I always say get rid of, but what I mean is deal with our triggers. I mean, deal with our triggers, Virgo. Not get rid of them. We're actually supposed to incorporate it. So a lot of people want to push things away, like that thing that they made their shadow, and they want to get as far away from it as possible. And it's just going to scream louder if you do that. Like you really do need to understand who that person is, integrate that person that you're denying, you know. That person that you're denying might be somebody that you truly are, because somebody told you that you were something else. And this card is telling you to forget who that person is. Just forget who you are. Because there are a lot of times, if it doesn't even have to be a spiritual awakening. If you're entering a next stage in life, that sometimes you're going to have to need to either shed that person that you were, at least part of that person, to move forward into whatever it is that's going on, so that you can grow and learn. But on top of that, it might just be inevitable anyway. The person that you might have been, even if you want to hold on to it, and you can hold on to parts of it, again, you have free will, but that person might not be, you know, resonating with the thing that you're moving towards. I mean, it happens all the time. If you're not growing, you know, and changing, then you're dying. So it's one of those things where you get to the point where you realize that whatever you've been told or whatever you've been doing all this time isn't working anymore, right? And it doesn't really help when the people around you are doing the same thing. We're all mad here. I mean, Alice in Wonderland is fresh in my mind because I did watch it recently. I mean, I watched it a long time ago. I'm talking about the 1951 version. But I did watch it recently too. And I remember when he was telling her, you know, we're all mad here. You know, it was during a really kooky moment in the movie. And, you know, it is very much like these cards really do kind of scream sometimes like what's going on around you and how you perceive it. That's exactly how I look at these cards, like why I got them. Because to me, this always seems like this is exactly how you perceive it a lot of times, especially if your heart is pure and you're dealing with people whose hearts aren't so pure. A lot of times we look at it from kind of like a, almost like an objective point of view, even if we are getting hurt, you know, kind of realize maybe how that person has to be a way or to treat you a certain way. But then you might realize like how you might have to be to accept that from that person, or to just let that happen, or possibly even believe it if you know you believe it, right? It's telling you to investigate. Use your discernment. Sometimes people tell people things and they don't believe it. They just know it's not true. They don't have to investigate it. They already know it's not true, especially if it's something about them and they know themselves better than the other person knows themselves. They don't have to go ask anybody. They know already. If you don't know, then ask or investigate. Don't ask the person that's giving you a hard time. Becoming braver. And this impossible things is screaming at me too, because it's just kind of telling me that whatever is being said isn't true. It's not real. Right? And again, we have this forget who you are, which as far as I'm concerned is like the record player. You know, the thing that's playing that's not true. And on top of that, you still have the reminder of who you actually are, and what you actually can choose to do. It's not telling you who you are. It's telling you that you're free to choose, right? That through your investigation, that even though we're all unique, you know, You're Rare and Free talks to me about being unique. You know, we're all mad here in the way that we're all the same, right? We're all buying into some kind of BS in the situation, right? Sometimes we can see it, especially like if you're an empath and you see that it's bullshit. And everybody else is acting like it's not. I mean, yeah, it could be learning to create what you desire. It could be the fact that you know what you're looking at and you don't need to be convinced. You don't need to be told what it actually is. You know, it's kind of like when someone's telling you something that you know isn't true. Like I said, the obvious thing would be if they were talking about you. But maybe they're not talking about you, but they're talking about something else that you know. And you know that what they're saying isn't true, right? Become brave enough to not try to and believe in impossible things. Even if the idea is easier to deal with than what's really going on, you need to investigate. If your intuition is telling you, Goddess of the Moon, if your intuition is telling you that something is wrong, I don't care what kind of situation it is. It could be anything. I always say work, love, life, but it could be anything. You know, honor your feelings. Listen to what you're being told by yourself, from yourself. There will be extended for this one, and these cards right here are what I consider to be from your higher self, and we'll see what your higher self actually has to say about that. But right now, you know, this attachment card, this is an issue too. This is a block. So depending on what you're trying to do in the situation, this is going to not, well, It's going to inhibit your ability to try to be rare and free, because you're going to be attached to something, and it could be something that's attached to the old way of whatever it is that's getting in the way. And if you hang on to this, it's going to make it sort of impossible things to do things the right way. To trust the universe. You have to trust the universe. And this card here, Leo, full moon in Leo, go wild. It's telling me that not to be timid about it. This is part of this being braver card. It's not just talking about being a little bit braver. A lot of times it takes work. This card right here, the Magician in the Mirror, it's like almost like different aspects of this right now. And again, you know, we're talking about like the shadow and all that stuff and working to balance. I mean, you can still have this if it's you and you want to be that person that wants to care about whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a material thing. It doesn't have to be money. It can be anything material, or it can be like abundance, or it can be anything abundance brings, like that. This card is telling me that it could be anything, whatever he's holding. You know, you can still be this and be these things too. You fit in there somewhere because you're deciding on you. You know, you're rare and free. But the first thing that you really need to do is to forget who you are. I mean, some of the things you're not going to necessarily want to let go of. Where's that card? Because you're going to know that that's you. That's something you don't want to let go of. That's truly me. And I don't want to replace this with anything else. This is me. But there's going to be some things that you're going to want to let go that you learned from people who were mad, right? And I'm not necessarily talking about your family. It could be friends. It could just be the people around you. You never know. Sometimes, again, like when we are of like sound mind, or we at least kind of know ourselves and we're in situations that are a little chaotic, we look at that chaos. We can see it. We may not know how to 100% process it. They could literally be in the dark. Intuitively, we might be told like, this isn't normal. People don't treat each other this like this, or families don't treat each other like this, or relationships aren't like this, or, you know, this is not what love is. This is not what love is. I'm not exactly sure what love is, but I know that this isn't it, right? So this is something that's important to a lot of people, and sometimes not necessarily the angel of love, but love itself. I always think of her as like the epitome of love. She's just so beautiful. Like I said, when the light turns, yeah, she's all red and pretty and pink and just beautiful, right? Angel of love. A lot of people, they don't want to let go of this. They're sort of attached to it. But the problem is that they bring all the other stuff that they're attached to that they wouldn't want to bring into a new relationship. You know, a lot of impossible things that don't help the relationship, right? And they kind of lose this. They're trying to hold on to it, but they lose it because, you know, maybe they don't become brave, or, you know, this go wild card could be, you know, stepping forward and trying to step into a new you, or it could be, you know, defending your boundaries, or it could just be, you know, being brave enough to forget who you've been programmed to be, because that's the hard part. Yes, changing the programming, but then you have to act, right? It's not just about telling yourself to be somebody different, right? You have to go do something with that information. Otherwise, why bother? It's really important that you try to hang on to this aspect of, you know, you while you're doing this. Part of it is appreciating yourself, realizing how special you are. Even if you didn't know anything else, that would be enough, right? I mean, to start with, right? Just clearing the slate. letting some things go that aren't really serving your progress, your well-being, your state of mind, you know, your healing, right? You know, maybe even just kind of like letting go of the chaos and saying, you know, sometimes it's like you're getting ready to have, you know, you're getting ready to have your own family, and you know that you don't want to drag, you know, impossible things into the raising of your children. You don't want them to learn that some of the things that you've been told were true, because you know they're not. Even if you don't know what the answer is or the truth is, right? You might still be in the dark on that. But intuitively, you might know that thing that you were telling yourself. And if you don't, you know, investigate it. But if you have something you've been telling yourself this whole time about who you are or what a situation should be like, that's probably the accurate thing. You need to honor your feelings. There is no right way. Everybody has their way, and everybody perceives it differently. You could have two parents, a mother and a father, or two parents, whoever their parents are, right? And then each child, you have 5 children, and each child might have a different experience of what it was like in that house, depending on the relationships that were present, right? Parents aren't perfect. They didn't give us a book when we left the hospital. They just pushed us out the door and said, trust the universe. Right? This is the Magician and the Mirror. You know, this card really says a lot to me about, every time it comes out, it's kind of like a slightly different message. But there's a duality to this card. You know, you have the water and the fire, you know, but it's not just the duality of the water and the fire, it's the Magician and the Mirror. You know, to me, always the mirror is like the empath, you know, the person that kind of reflects back to other people, you know, who they are. So again, we're kind of talking about this, you know, people could be interfering with who you are because you're reflecting to them who they are, and it makes them uncomfortable, because we're all back here. If you make me uncomfortable, I'm going to make you uncomfortable, and we're going to keep doing this until one of us breaks, right? That's why you have to forget what you've been told. Stop the recording. Just press stop. And definitely don't be attached to anything that you were told that was negative, especially if it's like a crutch, right? In fact, we haven't even pulled the blind spot card, so we don't even know what's holding you back here. We're getting close to time, so let's figure out if attachment has something to do with our blind spot, and then take it over to the extended. Just trying to see if I want to address anything else before I let those that aren't going to come with us go, Virgo. I think one of the main aspects was, I see like different personas here on the table. I see the angel of love, which reminds me of that love part of ourselves that sometimes we kind of push away. We say, I don't have time for that. I need to do this or whatever. I got work to do. I don't have time for that, you know. But realistically, we're always talking about balance. We're talking about being that person that was listening to the recording, that is us, that we want to take with us. You don't have to let go of everything, right? You know, definitely try to let go of stuff that you're just holding on to because it's a crutch. It's easier. But you can keep the parts of you that nobody's going to stop you, even if you don't know what's coming. Just embrace that part too, that you don't know what's coming. It's okay. Again, you have to trust the universe, right? Because this is what you're working towards. This is the person who's proficient. This is the person that's done the work. This is the person that when you face them with all this confusion and madness, they can see through to the right way, right? Because they know what they're looking at and they know what's wrong with it. Again, even if they don't know what's right, they don't have to. These are shuffled. We'll see if one will come out. Okay. Number 8. Let's see what the blind spot is on this. Because we can talk over and over again about how to do this, but if there's some kind of block or thing that's holding things back, 8 is a really good card. It's a card of abundance. And then that kind of tells me, I mean, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of facets to you. If it's not you, it could be your life. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that's great. A lot of choices. You could choose to hold on to stuff if you want, but again, it's not like you get a medal or anything. Sorry. And the sigil means bypassing. So we're going to have to talk about that in the extended, Virgo. All right. So if this sounds like you, meet us over at the extended. If not, until we meet again.